our big thing is too that him and I always preach is that we're going to remain who we are as a company. We have core values, our mission statement. We're getting into that because of EOS, and we want to remain that. It's not just to grow.
Yeah,
it's to remain who you are, and if we can improve in some areas and keep growing, then that's great.
Joining us today at the table are Jake Erickson, the Vice President of Marketing and Sales for Kwik-Wall, and Zach Hoyle, Vice President of Manufacturing, two of their senior leaders in the company. And I know you guys are going through lots of transitions, so we can correct those titles or adjust them as we go based on all the growth you're experiencing. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you
for having us.
Thank you.
Well, how many City AMs have you won? Let's talk about that real quick.
Not one in a while, so I need another one.
How many have you won, though?
I've won 7.
So 7 City AMs.
Yeah, pretty good golfer. Can I get some lessons today after this? Yeah.
Absolutely.
We might need several weeks.
Yeah, that's the only golf question I was going to ask.
Perfect.
So anyways,
that's fair. Thanks.
No, it's great to have you guys, and I know I understand from talking with you, business is growing like crazy, and a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving pieces, a new location. So we just want to hear the story of Kwik-Wall and about your guys' roles. I know we talked earlier. You're kind of in transition besides sales and marketing. Integration is a part of your role, and moving to become Chief Operating Officer. So tell us about Kwik-Wall and all the good things going on.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people that have no idea.
No,
what Kwik-Wall is.
no
I
idea.
know I didn't know.
No, it's thanks for having us. First of all,
absolutely.
And Zach, I can lead on that and let you add. But so we're in total growth mode. It's been fun to be a part of. But to go back with just our history, it started as Capital Woodworks in 1929.
Oh, really? Okay.
No kidding. No idea.
Right. So they were doing wooden garage doors, basically. Ray Nicewander, the Nicewander family was the ownership. And then in 1961 is when it became Kwik-Wall Company.
Okay.
There was kind of an emerging need for these operable, acoustically rated, movable partitions in the hospitality space and other spaces. And that's when they came up with Kwik-Wall Company and basically took it, put it on its side, put it on a track system, and add an acoustical rating so it can divide spaces into multiple spaces while still keeping some sound control.
Yeah,
okay.
cool.
That's the gist of it.
Same family?
Same family at the time.
So they pivoted into that space.
Yes.
They started Rainer Garage Doors.
Oh,
Yes.
In 1941, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
It was
well,
like
that's a familiar
the Capital
name.
Woodworks was like the umbrella company
Okay.
that owned those 3 companies.
Gotcha.
And Rainer still exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then really to get to today, I mean, everything kind of flowed with Kwik-Wall for quite some time. And then in 2006, current owner, along with Zach now, Mike Hoyle, purchased the company in 2006. He was the controller.
Oh, Mike was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know
I
that.
gotcha. I didn't either.
So he's an accounting guy.
Oh, yeah.
CPA with an MBA.
Did not know that. Yeah.
So he came on as controller for only about 6 or 8 months. And the company wasn't in the best of shape at the time. There were some things that needed to be cleaned up. He kind of saw it on paper, what he thought he could do, had a vision, bought the company, and it's been profitable ever since. He's turned it into what it is today.
And what year was that, you said?
That was 2006.
Okay.
So he's celebrating 20 years this year.
years.
Cool.
Of ownership. Yeah. And we could talk about a lot of other things on kind of how our growth's happened in the last several years, but it's been really fun to be a part of for me personally. And obviously having Zach come in the company has been really cool for me. He's been around the company since he was younger, but why don't you explain that a little, Zach? If you would.
Let's hear it.
I'd love to.
At least a piece of your story.
I mean, so I was only 8 years old when my dad bought the company.
Gotcha.
So I started out by doing what every good kid in their family company is, which is taking out the trash.
Right.
Of course.
Whatever they need.
I did a lot of that.
And so, so started out doing that. Slowly kind of moved into, like, obviously cleaning the office or whatever. Then kind of went into the plant when I was probably 12, 13, 14.
Wow.
Out in the plant. This was obviously like during the summers or after school. My mom would drop me off. Then kind of moved into like lawn care. And then, kind of made my way through that. And then kind of before the growth, and Jake will get into that, or we could both get into it. We kind of wanted me to go to school for engineering because I'm kind of a mechanical guy. like to work with my hands, things like that. So the idea was that I would go to school for engineering and then kind of come back and then be an engineer, kind of lead an engineering department of people, and then kind of go through the operations side that way through into manufacturing. And then, but then as you'll probably hear, we've hired quite a few engineers because of some companies going out of business. So that's not exactly been the plan. It's been a little bit more accelerated than that.
Sure.
But yeah, I just always have really enjoyed. Really, the big thing for me was because I lived down in Fort Worth, Texas, where I went to school, and really loved it down there. I had an older brother that lived down there. My little brother went down there as well. We were roommates. But really, the reason that I came back was during our plant move in 2020, when we had to move because of the eminent domain of the railroad coming in.
Yeah, the whole rail relocation project.
Yep.
Really, when I was a part of that move, I think I was a junior in college. I was like, man, I think I do want to come home and work with these people. I really enjoyed the people, because really, I mean, the product that we make is not the sexiest product on the market. We're not building jet engines or anything like that. But at the same time, it's kind of about the people you're doing it with.
Sure.
And frankly, that's been a big part of it with Jake. I've been buddies with Jake since before I even started working there.
Is that right?
Before you started working there as well.
Yeah.
We played golf league together.
Played some
actually.
golf together.
No
That's
kidding.
pretty fun.
I love that. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Same with Mike and some of the other Hoyles.
Yeah.
And then we found out before we started recording that you serve your National Guard.
I'm in the National Guard, yes, sir.
Great country.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you for your
Thank
service.
you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I've been very blessed. Met many great people in the National Guard and the Army. That was really, to be honest with you, it was kind of a selfish thing. It was mainly to pay for college.
Sure.
But I've just met so many great people, had great opportunities that I would have never had. I've been able to rappel out of a helicopter before,
cool,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Been able to blow up C4, do other great things like that. And
That's cool.
It's been really very fulfilling for me to be able to do that.
Has it influenced your leadership style or just your leadership
Absolutely.
in general? Yeah.
Absolutely. I've seen, of course, you always want to look up to leaders that you see and you're like, I want to be like that person.
Yeah.
But I've also seen the other side where I've been like, yeah, I don't want to be like that person. I don't want to lead like that person. I don't want to micromanage people.
I like that.
Like that. But yeah, it's definitely very different. The military is than like a civilian job. But I've absolutely learned a lot about leadership through the military. And frankly, that's kind of why I like being a manager. That's kind of what I do on the Army side, being an officer. And so it's definitely affected it in a good way, I think, and helped me grow faster, I think.
That's great.
Yeah, and I'll say this for him. He's kind of wise beyond his years, is what I like to say. He brings a leadership style and an attitude that's a little bit not like a 27-year-old that you would sometimes see. So I think that speaks a lot for Zach and his. Mike's made him do a lot to get to where he is, and I can speak for that for him. I've watched it happen, and I think that's really cool in the company to see his work ethic makes it so it's not. It's very easy to pull for him and want him to be in a leadership position for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
Cool. I love it.
Well, you guys obviously have, as you said, it's maybe not the most sexiest or the sexiest product in the world, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But there's a huge need, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Given what you guys are doing, talk a little bit about your growth and your expansion.
So then, are your end customers like hotels?
Yes, that's a big part of it. I'll explain that a little bit for you because we kind of need to explain what we do and why we do it. We don't market a ton locally because most of our business is through distributors throughout the country and internationally that buy it from us and install it in their market. Of course, in a 2-hour radius of Springfield, we do projects directly.
Okay.
Right.
But outside of that, it's distributors that are really bidding on projects with our product, hopefully winning it and installing it in their market.
Okay.
So our big marketing push is to like architects and general contractors really nationally to try to get them to architects
spec your stuff.
Bingo.
Gotcha.
We want them to spec Kwik-Wall.
Gotcha.
We want GCs to trust Kwik-Wall and our distributors to deliver on what they need, which is on-time delivery, reliability, all the things that a GC wants, but at the same time, meeting kind of all the things that an architect wants, which is meeting a spec, having the right products to kind of deliver what they need.
Sure.
So we, our product wise though, a standard operable wall is just a standard, either an acoustical substrate with a steel skin over it and a finished material, call it a vinyl, a fabric, or a carpet or plastic laminate. You can do a lot of kind of crazy stuff with the finished materials, but it's just dividing a space into multiple spaces. You see it a lot in a hotel conference room.
Yeah.
Those big ballrooms.
Yes.
You've got multiple operable walls. You don't really see them because they're usually stacked away.
Sure.
But if they're pulled out, that's what we make.
Okay.
But we do them for schools, government facilities, anything commercial really we'll do it for. Even a little bit residential occasionally, but it's mostly commercial. Any office spaces, architects' offices like them too because they know what they are and they're looking to divide a little conference room. We do glass as well.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah.
Some of them are glass, so you can see.
Yep.
And sorry to interrupt. This is my own curiosity. So, like, you'll go into some of these big hotel spaces, for example, that maybe have existed for decades, and their walls are kind of those walls that fold up, right? And are almost,
Accordions.
Accordions.
Yeah,
Accordions.
accordions.
Yours don't. That's really not. Your products are more like a solid wall glass or the various finishes you talked about, right? That kind of stack up against one another when you.
We have an accordion line as well.
Okay.
It's a smaller part of our business, and that's the only part of the business that hasn't moved to Clinton. We've had this facility in Elkhorn, Wisconsin.
Okay.
That has a small amount of employees where we've built accordions for forever.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's called Curtition.
Okay.
And that is your kind of churches like them, right?
Yeah,
just hide a little
you see them.
space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
You could get them as no STC. STC is sound transmission class. That's just how much sound is going from this side of the wall to the other.
Gotcha.
You can get it with no STC or some STC value where you're breaking up some sound, but it's a lower cost option in those scenarios. But that place has run itself so well. We didn't want to remove those employees and make them move. They weren't going to want to move that far away. So that's the only piece of our manufacturing that has stayed there. The rest of it is all in Clinton now.
Gotcha. So you were off of, was it Edwards in like 10th, 11th Street? I remember meeting your dad, Mike, there many years ago and seeing the product. That's why I was asking kind of the accordion style versus these, what I would call like a solid wall, even though it's movable.
Yep. That's right.
But now, so then you moved out to the industrial park here in Springfield and then now in Clinton. Can you say a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So really our growth started in 2019. So in 2019, we have about 6 competitors in North America that build pretty much exactly what we build. I mean, yes, there might be some seals that are different, but at the end of the day, it's steel, aluminum, and drywall. Those are the 3 main things. So this company called Panelfold down at out of Miami, Florida, went out of business. It was a 3rd-generation business. Really a great company, great family-owned company, great product that they made. Went out of business for various reasons, and at the time, we gained a bunch of their distribution. So we picked up a lot of their distributors that couldn't go to other companies or weren't able to or whatever. And then we hired 2 of their engineers, and so that kind of ties back into why I didn't end up becoming like a individual contributor engineer, and you'll understand that. So then we were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. What did our lead time jump to?
It doubled probably from lead time's kind of what when you say I want to release these panels, how long is that going to take until we actually ship them? 6 to 10 weeks is kind of good in the industry where you kind of want to be.
Okay.
And we jumped to probably 15 to 18 weeks, which is really long for us at the time in a small facility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was not good. Even though you picked up
it's
all
good,
the business.
good problem to have.
But
good problem, but you got to tighten up the efficiency.
But your distributors are going to go, well, when are you going to get that fixed, right? Like it's fine for now, but tell me your plan.
Interesting. Okay.
So that was amazing for us. We were like, wow, this is awesome. This Panelfold goes out of business. We gain all this distribution, whatever. 2020 happens where I think it was the state or maybe it was federal. I can't really remember. Someone in the government is basically expanding the railroad right behind our building.
Okay.
Which ends up being kind of a blessing in disguise. So they had to pay for everything.
Okay.
They had to pay for they had to pay us for the buildings based off of fair market appraisal. And then they had to pay. We bought the old H.D. Smith building out in Industrial Park.
Okay.
And they had to pay for all the upgrades, so all the electric, all the air,
Oh, really?
all that stuff. So E.L. Pruitt was out there, BLDD, or excuse me, B&B Electric.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
And then O'Shea GC'd it, which was awesome to work with them.
Yeah.
But they had to. The only thing we really did was we came out with the layout,
Okay.
and we gave it to the contractors with all the power requirements of all of our equipment and everything. And then they, for like 9 months, worked on all those things, put in loading docks, other things like massive things.
Yeah.
Then we got to hire professional movers. This great company, the Bile brothers out of Florida, actually drove up, and then they had these like massive 30,000-pound forklifts to pick up our roll forming equipment.
Wow.
And some of these big pieces of equipment. So they moved all that.
Okay.
So obviously then we learned a lot from that, of course. So then that was in 2020. It was like right around the 4th of July that we physically moved. And then in 2022, this company called Huffcore, which is about 5 times our revenue, they're out of Janesville, Wisconsin. They had been bought by a private equity firm roughly 5 years prior, roughly 2017. Massive company, like clear number 1 or number 2 in the market. Moves to Monterrey, Mexico in I think 21 or 22, or maybe I think it was 20 actually. Sorry, not that it's really relevant, but they end up going out of business.
Wow.
And so that was a huge thing.
Another windfall for you guys.
Yeah,
Yep.
in North America.
In
they went
North
out of
America.
business.
Sure.
Yeah, they're a global company at this point.
Yep.
Man.
They have multiple, locations overseas and things like that.
They've got one in China, one in Australia, one in Europe. I think they don't have one in South America, but anyway, they're all, this is companies all over the world.
So did private equity come in and just drain the cash out of the business? And
In about 5 years,
I
and
think
then,
so,
and then they
yeah.
tried. The last ditch
Unbelievable.
effort was to move production to Mexico, which
Drain the cash, move them to Mexico, and
Cut the
then
cost.
and these, while it's not the sexiest product as we've said, there's a lot that goes into this.
Oh,
yeah.
And we've got people that have been building these for 25, 30 years that we certainly would not want to lose.
Right.
Absolutely.
And lose that knowledge. And you think when you pull it from Wisconsin to Mexico, they're going to go train these people.
Right.
It's not how that
or
works.
they're going to move with it.
Not how that works.
No,
So I
not
think
gonna
they
happen.
oversimplified it from the
Sure.
private equity standpoint.
Right.
Well, this will be fine, and we'll cut labor.
Of course.
And it 6 months and it was done.
And did you pick up any of their engineers or employees?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
We've hired, I think we have 15 of their employees.
Oh, great.
Engineers, software development. We have a plant manager from there.
Okay.
He actually lives in Maroa now.
Okay.
From Janesville to Maroa.
Wow.
And works at our Clinton plant. We have draftsmen, so the AutoCAD drawings of our product. I'm probably missing several, but
Purchasing, I
Yep.
mean, pretty much almost all of our departments. And you're talking people with 20, 30 years of
Oh,
experience.
yeah.
A lot of them that you're not going to find
yeah.
off the street to come work for
Man,
Kwik-Wall
that's
and add the
awesome.
value they can add this
Right.
quickly.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So so then what we did in 2022 is we not only hired all these people, but then we actually bought their intellectual property.
Okay.
So now in 2022 we saw what happened with Panelfold where our lead time jumped, and we said, okay, we do not want to do this again. We don't want our distributors calling us asking about this. So we bought the Stalls Furniture in Mount Pulaski, Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
41,000 square foot building. Completely gutted it, and then we went to the Huffcore auction, bought a bunch of their equipment, like enough to start an entire line of building panels, and then fired up Mount Pulaski plant in that year. That was 2022.
Sure.
And then in 2023, we bought the Farm and Home building on North Dirksen.
Okay.
So it was
Oh,
an
yeah.
additional
The old Farm and Home.
62,000 square feet.
Uh-huh.
And so we were going to move our glass operation out there because we started partnering with this company from Europe. And basically the idea was that they would license us their product, and then we would manufacture in the U.S. to keep the lead time and the cost down. Then we kind of came to, so we're like, wow, we're opening all these facilities. We know how to move. We know how to start up a facility.
Yeah.
And so then in 2020, my years are all blending together. What was this, 2025, I guess?
Yeah, it was
This is quick-
2025.
This is quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not,
growth,
not
yeah.
like
It's a
it took 20
And
years.
it sounds
like
very capitally
5
intensive.
years.
Going
Yes,
through it all, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, did we really do all this?
Yeah.
In
No,
this
I
short of
can
time, there's a
only
lot
imagine.
there's a lot of things. Yeah,
Sure.
2025 is when
So-
Clinton became a reality.
So 2025, I think March 3rd, 2025, we started looking for a building because first of all, we had 2 plants that were building virtually the same product, Mount Pulaski and then Springfield on Industrial Ave. Different intricacies, but by and large, we're carrying duplicate inventories of a bunch of things.
Gotcha.
Sure.
And then, frankly, the management of those 3 plants was very difficult. I mean, we're hiring more people when we could just have, we could reduce that leadership.
Understandable. For
Um,
sure.
And then operationally, we had parts that had to go internally, so we were putting trucks on the road and things like that. So we just started looking for a building, frankly, and we stumbled across this Clinton facility that's 240,000 square feet. And
Big
we're
facility.
like,
What was in there? Was there?
It was
our Donnelly. It was a
yeah.
printing press.
printing press.
Oh,
Yeah.
printing press.
Okay.
Been closed for quite a while,
Yeah.
a year and a half, 2 years,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
something
Forgot
like
about
that.
Yeah.
So found the building, and we're like, man, this makes sense. Because then one of the other problems with the 3 buildings that we had is we're building one of Huffcore's panels. So it's called the 600 series. We're coming out, so we bought 7 roll formers. These roll formers are like 40 foot long, and they turn steel they bend it into a shape.
Okay.
And then you use that as like the frame.
Okay.
You weld that together, and that becomes the frame. We bought so many pieces of equipment to produce this panel system because they have the specification with the architects and the GCs, if that makes sense, because they're globally known.
Total. Yeah.
And then we can build the taller panels that are in these convention centers that our legacy products couldn't go to with the extent of it. So my point is, between the 3 buildings moving into one to make it easier, the shared inventory, and then frankly all this equipment, we were like, we have to go somewhere. So we started looking out of state, as you can imagine. But really it came down to, how do we retain our employees?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we do not want to lose any of our employees at all.
Wow.
So we found this building. It's an hour away, which is not ideal, but we do a lot of things to incentivize them.
Yep.
But what was cool about this move, in my opinion, was the daddy government wasn't paying the bill on this one. Right? So we were funding this, and so we had to get the permit from the city of Clinton, and did all the air and all the electric, all that got inspected up to code, everything, and moved ourselves. The only thing that we hired was there's like a CNC saw that we hired the German company to come in and move it for us, but everything else we moved ourselves.
Wow.
Everything else, like upgrades to the building, we did ourselves. Drawing, we did ourselves. And then, so with all that work, we were fully moved in the middle of March of this year.
Okay. So was there any downtime from when you had to move? I mean, were you shut down for a couple of weeks or
Good question.
a month?
Great question. No, we were not.
Really?
Which is crazy.
Wow.
So basically what we did was we loosened up the schedule, the production schedule. And then once that department got ahead, let's say like the milling department, we'd be like, all right, shut it down, move it. And then basically we allowed that schedule for our guys to get ahead in that department. And then same thing on the other side. So we move it, and then we got to set it up. We got to remember, where's our hinges, where's our inventory, and then so now I think the middle of April we were back to full production.
Gotcha.
Out of that facility.
Wow.
And if you can't tell, the stars kind of aligned for us a little bit, because as the eminent domain situation became a major blessing in disguise.
Sure.
Because the eminent domain process is very clear on how they move you, and they have to do these things, and that's great.
Yeah.
But we got into a bigger facility that helped us a little there. Then we built this Mount Pulaski facility to keep our lead times down.
Right.
Because at the time, there wasn't just a 240,000 square foot facility floating around that we were going to buy.
Yeah.
It just wasn't
You
a
can't
reality.
find those on every street corner. Yeah.
But then we realized, well, if we can move here and we can move to Mount Pulaski pretty successfully, I think we've got the team to do this.
Yeah.
So then when the time came, I think it was a lot easier for Mike and Zach to go, we can do this.
Wow.
And we can move into this 240,000. It would have been a lot scarier if we were moving from 1010 East Edwards, having never moved.
Had you not done it already.
Yeah.
We would have known what we didn't know.
Right.
You don't know what you don't know, right? So,
Yeah. So do you guys
Get into it.
manufacture the things you manufacture there in Clinton, Illinois? Do you ship any of it internationally, or is it all North America? Oh, you do.
No, we do.
yeah, internationally as well. We have distributors and
Yep.
international partners that buy it from us.
And everything's made here.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty
And we'll
cool.
do a different little crating system. We do sea crates so that they're protected going overseas. But
Wow.
it's not a huge part of what we do, but we certainly do
Yeah.
international business, and it's part of it. We want to continue to grow that too.
Sure.
Yeah.
So your growth has come from acquisitions or buying stuff from other businesses, either gone out. Have you bought other businesses, other competitors out as well?
Just the Huffcore IP, which was essentially buying them out.
Yeah.
But that brought a lot of other things too, besides some of the things Zach mentioned. It brought this Partition Studios 5, which is an add-on to our ERP system. So it allows distributors to do online quoting and online shop drawings, which admittedly we've been behind the times on. We had a more manual process. So a distributor can actually go online and do this in 5 minutes and get a drawing that they can submit.
Really?
Which put us, that alone was really
front
worth
of the
it.
pack,
That
right,
alone.
for sure.
Yes.
I feel really bad about this, but it was such a great learning experience for Ben.
Yeah.
we had started down the path with this company called Configure One. So it was like a configurator that does exactly what we're talking about: online shops, online quotes for our distributors when they can log in. And so he had worked on that for a year, an entire year. And we were getting really close to launching it. And then we find out when we bought this HuffCore IP that it's actually this other program's included on it.
Oh, nice.
So we had to basically scrap a year's worth of his work, but it turned out to be a blessing because he'd already learned programming. Because he was a mechanical engineer, came through, and so he learned all that. It's kind of a granular thing, but it's kind of interesting how that path.
And I want to answer that question too of how our growth has happened, because I don't want to forget, and this is the most important thing really. Our core distributors that have been with us for 25, 30 plus years have grown too.
Okay.
That's what's fun for us.
Right.
It sounds like we're saying all new and new distributors. It's part of it, but it depends what market they're in and if we were willing to bring them on. We want to see our distributors that have been with Kwik-Wall when we were smaller grow with us.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's
like, would we recognize any names of your distributors, or are they household names, or
it's not a ton of household names. There's some that are bigger companies. It's really an interesting mix.
Yeah.
You've got small little companies that just focus on operable wall sales and maybe a couple other similar specialty products, all the way up to really big companies that have operable walls as a part of a ton of other things they're doing. Yeah. So it's a good mix. It just depends on the market and who's partnered.
Is it
with
a
us.
fairly automated process making these things, or is there a lot of manual labor as well, or a little of both?
Good question.
I would say it's a little bit of both. I think we're seeing, as a lot of people know, manufacturing is declining in the U.S.
Right.
Which I think is a lot, not to be political. I think that's part of the reason why Trump is doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
So we're working on automating some things, but a lot of it based off what we do, because everything is very custom. No wall that goes out is the same, whether it's a different size, different width,
Gotcha.
different color, different face material. It's very different. So we're figuring out how to automate some of those processes to take some labor out, make it easier, frankly.
Sure.
Because working in a factory cannot be the most glamorous thing, as some people know, but yeah, it's a mixture of both, that I would say.
Yeah.
And because it's so specialty, that's why it was a great question you asked about the downtime.
Yeah.
Because we had to really plan to move
I can't
and
imagine.
phase it, because you can get ahead in some departments, but we can't just shut down for a month and move.
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't work that way because it's so specialty.
Sure.
So we really had to think that out. And again, the 2 moves before really helped us kind of understand what we needed to do. And it worked out pretty well moving here to Clinton.
So the other buildings that you were in, they're no longer functioning for Kwik-Wall?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
We strategically are not selling the Mount Pulaski building because it's only about 25 minutes away from Clinton.
Gotcha.
But the other 2 are for sale. So potentially, if there's a buyer, we'll sell them. Otherwise, we might just expand to them again.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
And we're keeping our office headquarters in Springfield.
Oh, gotcha.
That's we're still in the 4650 industrial location for now. And we may stay there for a while or until it sells, but we're staying office here.
So I'm just thinking, as a business owner, like, when we think about our own growth, it's intentional and there's steps to that. What is the building you're in now? Will it last for 3, 5, 10 years, 1 year? What?
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah. Capabilities, I'll let you add to it, Zach, but capabilities wise, it's far and away beyond what we've had.
Awesome.
It's got 3 different lines that run in a straight line from this end of the facility to this end. Go back to 1010 East Edwards. It was a zigzag, small ceiling heights. You got columns in the way.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't even entertain doing a 30-foot panel the way we can now. Couldn't even entertain it.
Gotcha.
And then the 3 lines, we can actually staff them as needed. We're probably, if anything, overstaffed right now, because as we get a big convention center project, we want to be able to put that on a 3rd line and not disrupt our lead time on these 2 lines.
Yeah.
And that's strategic as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there we can do just from those things, among many others that Zach's thinking of, I'm sure, that we can grow into this facility for sure.
So it's a facility that's going to accommodate future growth for quite some time to come.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Cool. The other thing that's nice is I think it's on 20 acres. So if we had to, we could add on to the building.
That's great.
Yeah.
So,
And that's why we couldn't pass it up. I mean, it being that big of a facility.
Right. That your needs now and potentially in the future.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
It's always better, or it's always cheaper to buy than build. So we don't want to do that, but we definitely can if we need to.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
but it's a great building.
Yeah.
So.
Mike still works a lot.
When he wants to.
I guess you could call it work.
But it looks like he's in good hands with YouTube. That's for sure.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
No, well,
yeah, very impressive.
What's great about Mike is I think this has re-energized him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think he'll tell you that he said that. So
yes.
I mean, it's re-energized him to see the growth, and he wants to see it for those distributors too. We're friends with these distributors too. A lot of them, some of them are some of Mike's best friends. And to see them grow while we're growing, I think it's re-energized Mike. Plus having Zach come into the company and Andrew being in the company, so he's involved, and I won't dive into the EOS, but we've adopted this EOS. It's called Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Oh yeah, we know.
And,
We're familiar with it.
And I've talked to you about it, Chris, a little bit, but it's really brought us some structure. We're not corporate, but it brings from organized chaos to some structure. You get an accountability chart, you get clear leadership roles, and it just helps as a growing company.
Yeah.
Wasn't as big of a problem when you're 50 employees. When you're 165, it needs to be a little more clear. And that's helped Mike at least be able to be a visionary and step away a little bit and not feel like he has all these direct reports that he's really worrying about. That's the beauty of it, I think, from Mike's standpoint.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
We adopted it at the end of 2023, but as you can imagine, you appreciate this as a business owner, but the organization was very flat.
Oh yeah,
it was kind of everybody reported the old man.
Yep, I remember.
And
that.
as we grew, I mean,
it
was
a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Yeah, so I can imagine. Your dad probably had a few ulcers over the years. But go ahead.
I think right before we adopted this EOS system and built this leadership team, he had 17 direct reports.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was like, "This has got to be. We got to do something different." So then we started doing a little bit more of a pyramid, which we don't love that, but unfortunately, with growth, you have to do that.
You get to a certain point where you have to scale. Absolutely. Yeah. You just have to. Yeah.
And I'll bring up, Tom Weiss came into our company. Tom had been a military guy for 30 years, right?
Retired colonel.
Okay.
And talk about bringing just kind of coming in and commands respect. Great guy.
Yeah.
Just commands respect when he walks in a room. And he was our integrator. He was our COO. And he just retired, and we're happy. That's great. But that kind of timed out well with when we brought on EOS, because he kind of took it and ran with it. And from an integrator standpoint, got us to where it's very structured and in a good place. And hopefully as I move into that role, can do that. And the point of that is to let Mike be a visionary and do what he's doing. And hopefully between me and Zach, we can kind of get things moving in the company like they're supposed to be and integrate.
Kind of more of a hands-on integration, day-to-day functioning. Yeah. So I was going to ask you about that. So you're in the process kind of shifting into more of that kind of a role, correct?
Yeah. So I've kind of added the title of integrator with VP of Sales and Marketing, and over time here, I'll get rid of the VP of Sales and Marketing title. We'll kind of pass that on to somebody else, and I'll be able to full-time be the integrator, and I'm excited to do that. I think it's helped having the background I've had in the company for almost 8 years now, and being close with Zach, and I think we see things pretty similarly. We're not afraid to tell each other when we don't. Same with Mike, but
which is really healthy.
That's
great.
Healthy,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like he's an integrator, but he also has the ability to be visionary and bring some other things to the table, which is not I'm not an integrator. I can, but I know what I want done and how to do it. But that's just not my strength. And you got to have all that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun, and I think it's a good dynamic, and I'm happy to be a part of it. The growth has been really fun, and for our employees and our distributors and everybody, it's just it's fun to see where we're going from where we were, and our big thing is too that him and I always preach is that we're going to remain who we are as a company. We have core values, our mission statement. We're getting into that because of EOS, and we want to remain that. It's not just to grow. It's to remain who you are, and if we can improve in some areas and keep growing, then that's great.
So what I love about one of the things I love is that I suspect that most people have no idea who Kwik-Wall is, what you do, that you exist here. I use this term, you're not a sleepy little company. You're a large company now, right?
Yeah.
But this sleepy company that people don't even know exists, and you're having, massive impact, not just here, in employees' lives and their families, but your investments in the communities that you're a part of, but outside of Springfield, outside of Illinois, throughout the country, and really throughout the world.
Right.
And but I've heard you didn't use this word, but I think I sense it. You talk about Mike and his desire, his friendships with all the distributors, and you guys keep talking about your distributors and wanting them to experience the growth and bringing them alongside you. That relationships are still everying.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you talk about your people.
Yeah,
your people. That
that's
work
what
with you
drives
and
it
for
all,
you.
right? Is the
Absolutely.
relationships with people, and I think so many industries and or companies, as they get to a certain size, they lose the value of the personal relationships with the people you serve, and when you lose that, you lose, I think, part of the heart and soul of the company and the values that it's been built on. So it's just cool to see you reference them over and over. I'm like, these are relationship people.
Yeah,
absolutely. The way
Well,
that we look at it,
go ahead.
sorry.
No.
The way that we look at it with our distributors is they're partners to us because we don't own any distributors outside of the Central Illinois one.
Yeah.
But I can promise you, we're going to be late on an order. We're going to forget some nuts and bolts on the order, and so really the partnership comes in when they take care of that issue, and they don't send us a back charge for $5,000 for going to get to the hardware store to get a bolt or something.
Right.
And then it's the same thing with us. They forget to release something for production. Guys, I forgot to release this. Is there something you can do? Well, let's see what we can do. I mean, to me, that's the biggest thing about these guys, because when you don't build a product, we're not the most premium product in the industry, and we are not the lowest cost.
Gotcha. Yep.
So the way that we differentiate has to be through our customer service and through treating our distributors as partners.
Yeah.
It has to be.
I like it.
And the relationship
Good
piece
business
is,
model.
I'll speak to that from I mean, everybody trusts Mike and his decision making. And I think when we were moving to Clinton, I think a lot of these guys could have gone, oh, this is scary. I don't know if I want to do this.
Right.
But Mike goes out in the plant and talks to these guys. He asks how their families are doing. There's a relationship there, especially these guys that have been with us for 20, 30 years.
Sure.
And they trusted him
Yeah.
that he's going to figure this out, take care of us. Yes, I have to drive 55 to an hour, but we're going to get it figured out. And I want to stay in it because I believe in what Mike's doing here.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to it from a level and the relationship throughout the organization that comes from him. The culture comes from the top.
Oh yeah.
And he sets it with kind of how he treats people and then how he we don't market locally. We do things for the community and we do things for Clinton and we'll do things here in the community. You just don't see a Kwik-Wall billboard because it's just not.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't need to
We
do
want
that.
the GCs locally to use us, and that's really what we need. We more spend our dollars on architects and GCs throughout the country. So, but it's a great point.
Makes sense. I bet Clinton loves having you too.
Oh, they've been amazing.
Yeah, I bet.
They've been awesome.
Yeah, specifically, Kurt Holman is the director of economic development. He has been amazing. They came in and they asked what we needed, and we told them. We said, "Hey, get us a permit for this building." And within 24 hours, they had a permit for us to do all the work, put all the garage doors in, put all the electric in, all the air, all that stuff. I mean, they have absolutely
24 hours.
Yeah.
24 hours later.
Boy, you gotta love that.
Yeah, they're an amazing community.
That is cool.
They are amazing. And frankly, we've hired some great talent up there.
Yeah.
A lot of people that live in Clinton that worked at Rivian.
Oh yeah.
Sure. A little bit closer to home for them, so they've come over, and it's just been such a blessing, frankly, to move up there.
That's great.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, they've embraced us with open arms. And the other thing is, as some of our talent ages and potentially retires, you've got Clinton itself, but you've got Bloomington, you've got Decatur, you've got Champaign, all within really 30 minutes.
Right.
So you've got some pretty big areas to pull from a labor standpoint there too, which is nice. And but Clinton's been great, and it's a great home. Yeah,
That's great.
The one thing I will let me brag on my old man for 1 second, please. if I could.
Good. Yeah, we love that.
So when we found out we were moving and we knew, like, how are we going to retain these guys that have been here for 20, 25, 30 years, that have all this tribal knowledge,
Right.
that you can't just read the drawing and it has everything, right?
Oh yeah.
So he went out and he dealt with Mike Wilburn at Roberts, and he bought 20 company vehicles.
Wow.
And so most of these guys, these team leaders and whatnot, have a vehicle that they take home. They get to flex an hour of work where we pay them for 30 minutes of driving on the front and back end of every day, and then we pay for their fuel too.
Oh man,
to get there.
Wow, that's impressive.
So that's all. That's why we've retained these guys.
That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty awesome.
I love it.
Yeah,
that's
great.
thinking out of the box.
Because it was one of those where it was a no-brainer to move, but
Yeah.
I think lingering in Mike's head was,
What are we
I
gonna-
want to retain
our
my
people.
employees.
Yeah.
And it's easy to move 5 miles down the road. It doesn't affect anyone's life, but
Right.
this did a
Oh,
little.
yeah.
And
Well, and you use that word, the tribal knowledge
knowledge,
or
I love it.
institutional
Yeah. It's
knowledge
huge.
that people
Yeah.
have. It is a killer
Yeah.
when you lose that.
oh,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just recreate it overnight. It's impossible.
100%.
So
Would you say your dad has really good like intuition,
Absolutely.
gut instincts, and
He's definitely a visionary.
he's that guy.
Yeah, he's an instinctual guy, right? Good guts.
Yeah.
He's always thinking 1 to 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
That's pretty
And
cool.
part of being a family-owned, smaller company still is you can be a little nimble and do some of these things we've done.
Yeah.
Don't take such a long time in some cases, and sometimes we have to dial him back in a little. But most of the time, he's on a.
How does that work for you?
It depends on the day.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That depends on the day.
I know him well enough to know that's
job.
not easy. I can imagine.
Not easy at all. Yeah.
I love it.
That's great.
So when it comes to manufacturing, I'm just really curious. So from a manufacturing time frame, do you run one shift? Do you run a couple of shifts? Do you flex that? How's that work?
So we run one shift.
Okay.
6:30 to 5 Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
And then we reserve Friday for either mandated, preferably not mandated, or volunteer overtime.
Okay.
And that's an 8-hour shift from 6:30 to 3, I believe.
Gotcha. Is that so that operates every Friday typically, or no?
No, that's
Not
only
all-
if we're behind
or specialty
or
a
specialty
special order
if we have a
or-
special
okay.
job that we'll
Gotcha.
pay the guys. So,
Okay.
but no, back in the day they had like an overnight shift, and apparently the quality was not very good.
Yeah.
And so we do not want to do an overnight shift. We don't want to do a second shift.
Yeah.
We want to do one shift and then have multiple lines to increase the capacity. We don't want to have to do split shifts or anything like that.
Makes sense.
So
Well, you maintain the quality of your product, right, and the service that you deliver to your distributors for sure. With that, better than if you have 2 or 3 shifts.
And that's why you don't want to do too many Fridays either. It just gets to be a lot. I mean, 4 10-hour days is a long day.
It's a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Long
Especially in
day.
the manufacturing process.
And
I can imagine.
And I think it's structured well, and they like the 3-day weekend's great, but the 4 days you're in it is long days.
yeah.
But then the Fridays, it's the example too earlier. The distributor calls us and says, "Hey, I totally forgot to release this. It's just a total mistake."
Yeah.
Or this GC is hounding me
Yeah.
to get this project in. Can I move this up 2 weeks? Maybe even pay overtime,
Yeah.
and you can work Friday. Then we have that flex option to do that, and
if
that
folks
works really well.
want to make a little additional money, they have
Absolutely.
the opportunity to do so, but it's more voluntary, it sounds like.
Yeah,
So
mostly. And so if we have to mandate it, or if we're behind, sometimes we'll have to mandate it. Hopefully, we're not behind very
doesn't
often.
sound like it happens very
Not
often.
not
though.
super
Yeah.
often. A little bit around the move, of course, but
Yeah,
no. Other than that, we're usually pretty on time. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
How did we ask the question?
Well, I don't know
with
because
these young guys?
they're so young. I don't know.
And they're a hell of a lot smarter than
but
I am.
I mean, he
that's
started
for
working
sure.
when he was 8 years old.
Right,
So
yeah.
I mean,
I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah. I was trying to figure out how to get out of work at 8 years old. But no, ask the question. It is great because I mean, it sounds like you've always been very interested in the business and like tinkering and being around work and stuff.
Maybe
like
a
that.
twist on it will be about the move. So we always ask folks, if you could go back and give your younger self a piece of advice based on what you've learned over the last 30 years of your career. Well, that's not you guys.
Right.
So based on the move from Edwards to the industrial park to Mount Pulaski, and now to this facility in Clinton that houses everything for you for the most part, manufacturing wise. What are the lessons you've learned along the way that you wish you knew before you made the first move from Edwards out to the industrial park that you would pass along to others who maybe are in this similar kinds of situations?
Sure.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that I would say is when you're looking at a plant flow layout, just pick something and run with it, and don't try to make it perfect, because ultimately you don't know the flow of a plant until you're in there and you're operating, in my opinion.
Sure.
And so get in there, get the layout done to the best of your ability, to what you guys think it's going to do, and then pay the money down the road to move to change it, because you got to get your guy. If you're going to start up the plant quickly, you got to have that layout to get those utilities, the air, electric, all that stuff set up so that you can actually move. And then the other thing, I think, just recognizing what a stressor it can be on other people. I mean, I know we had a successful move; it went really well. But the amount of hours that these people put in, because let's say our purchasing department, for instance, these people have a full-time job purchasing materials for us to use for like the actual manufacturing process. Well, then for the move part, they had to do all the cycle counting and then, correct that if it was wrong in the system, and then get trucks here to get the material moved. So just kind of be more patient with people, I think. Obviously, we need to make money. We need to fire up the plant, but be patient on because it was just an enormous stressor on quite a few people in our company, frankly, to move.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say to add to that was a good answer, I think, was because I was like, what's my answer going to be?
Yeah.
My answer is, it's a great question. I think one thing we learned throughout both the first two moves was that somebody's got to own this. Somebody has to completely own this move and lead the team to move it. I think a little bit when you piecemeal something together and everybody's involved but nobody's in charge. Guess what happens? Not a lot happens.
Not a lot.
Who's the champion?
Bingo. And we had a champion this last move, and I think that worked. Of course, a thing or two is going to fall through the cracks, but the decision making has to come from somewhere. And I think we got better about kind of deciding maybe one or two people are responsible for this, and they're going to spend most of their time doing it. Whereas the first time we kind of had a group of people that were all involved, but to your point, doing other things. And it's and this big of a deal. This was a company breaker potentially for us. Sure. Clearly, I mean, if this goes wrong,
not good.
It's not good. Especially when the government's not paying for you to move.
That's right.
Right.
So we had to get this right,
and your future's not looking real bright.
Probably not.
And we were the most affected because we're kind of younger.
No, absolutely.
So we're like, this needs to go right.
That's impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. I think no matter what it is that you're tackling that's new and or different, you know, the old thing about having too many cooks in the kitchen. This idea of, hey, this is a brand new initiative, whatever it may be. You know, I'm thinking about just various companies who are involved in various things. Have somebody or a couple, maybe two people who are the champion of this brand new initiative, or in your case, this massive move and reconstruction of an existing facility to turn it into an operational manufacturing facility. So, really good stuff.
Well, if you guys offer tours, Chris and I wouldn't mind coming check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
That'd be awesome.
Love to have you to Clinton and see the facility.
I can only imagine how proud Mike is of like you and your brother, and then even I know how close of friends you guys are. You know, like Chris and I are good friends. My youngest son just moved back in the business, and my oldest son's working with me, and it's been more fun than I could ever have imagined it would be. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's good stuff.
I bet it is.
When you get that next generation as excited, if not more excited, than maybe than we are. You know,
you guys remind me. Chris and I talk about this. Your structure reminds me of our structure.
I know. I'm just sitting here thinking about
with Matt and your structure. I mean, that's pretty cool to see that happen.
And it's re-energizing, like you said about for your dad, for Mike, right? Like I will say, with Andrew coming back and becoming a part of the business, and
100%,
and we're experiencing some growth, and Matt's taking on some new challenges and new things and doing a great job with it. I can watch. I see him re-energized by that.
Absolutely.
Too. And it's
super exciting.
Yeah,
so love it.
Pretty cool stuff.
It's a great interview.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure.